everyone. Welcome back to a brand new show from Teal. My name is Apulak. Today, I am proud to launch a new asset, what we are going to call it Tech Stock in Focus, right? This is a brand new podcast series where we will try to analyze tech companies which are shaping the IT world, not just the way they impact the world today, but also the potential that they have to drive future innovation and business success. So each episode, I'll be joined by one of our esteemed analysts from Teal to dive deep into the strategies, challenges, and opportunities of the most influential tech companies. For our very first episode, we're putting the spotlight on Intel. You know, uh, it's been a tech titan for several years now. It's a company which has been synonymous with innovation, right? With computing innovation for decades now, from powering PCs to driving data centers. I mean, Intel's journey has been remarkable, right? But can it maintain its relevance in an industry which is rapidly moving towards AI, uh, edge computing, and beyond? So this is what we're going to speak about today. Joining me for the inaugural episode of Tech Stock in Focus is Kapil Baghel, who is a lead analyst with Think Team. Kapil, a very warm welcome to Tech Stock in Focus. It's great to have you.
Thanks, Ablak. First of all, thanks a lot for inviting me here. So, as far as Intel goes, its journey is one of the most fascinating stories in the tech world. So, but as of now, if you see, it's facing some of the biggest challenges in its entire history. So, for a long time, Intel ruled the PC and servers market, probably because of the flagship product that they have, x86 processors. But today,
Absolutely.
some of the key competitors have surpassed Intel in terms of high growth areas, be it mobile or AI chips, for example. Now, if you look at Nvidia has taken over AI chips and GPU markets. AMD is offering better, more efficient chips for PCs, and ARM processors are now basically the go-to for everything from smartphones to data centers. So that is the competitive landscape as of now, and it has changed completely. And Intel is lagging behind from that perspective. I would say it is a critical time, to analyze how Intel might respond to these challenges and try to regain some of its lost ground.
Tell
So,
me something, Kapil.
yeah,
Before we delve into Intel's present, I think it's very important for our audience who's listening to this to take them back to where it started, you know, and for all those who've kept a tab of the tech world. I mean, everybody knows this term which was coined many years back called Wintel.
yeah,
This was a partnership between Microsoft and Intel, which dominated PC era. It can probably be considered the golden era of personal computing, right?
absolutely.
Uh, Intel with its chipsets and Microsoft providing is the Windows operating system. And it was the gold standard as far as personal computing goes. And a duo that transformed the tech landscape. What we see today with every household practically living on a personal computing device, right?
Absolutely.
I think big, big credit goes to this Winter combination. But
Right.
Kapil, walk us through the rise and probably the eventual divergence of Winter.
Sure, sure. Absolutely, Aplak. So you bring about very pertinent point. So when I was doing my research, it was very fascinating to read about, Wintel's dominance in that particular era. And I think the Wintel story is perfect lens to understand Intel's current situation as well. If you look at in the 80s or 90s, Microsoft and Intel were the ultimate power duo. There was no
Mm,
competition at all, right? As you talked about. However, if you look at the 2010s, things started to shift. The
mm,
PC market slowed down as people moved to smartphones
mm.
and
Right.
tablets. The rise of mobile devices and new trends like cloud computing began to reshape the world. This is where I think Wintel's story broke, and took two very different paths. The crux of the story is Microsoft realized early that the world was moving beyond PCs and shifted its effort to the high growth areas like cloud AI or enterprise solutions, for
mm,
example.
mm, mm,
But
mm.
then on the other hand, they held on to its dominance in PCs for far too long, which allowed competitors to leap ahead in, as I talked about high growth markets like GPUs, mobile and AI processor.
And as you know, while yes, historically Intel has been the dominant player, right? And
Mhm.
somewhere it is due primarily due to its innovation in technology, right?
Correct,
And
correct.
it would be very unfair to say that Intel is does not remain to as innovative as it used to be. Yes, competition probably has caught on, but still continues to be a cutting edge company as far as innovation, tech innovation goes. So,
Especially
in your
chips.
yeah, especially the chipset business, right? What are its key strengths amidst the current landscape, and how would you see it, you know, set itself apart as far as closest competition AMD and Nvidia go? Like I said, in the semiconductor business, especially the chipset business.
Sure, like sure, absolutely. So in my opinion, Intel's biggest strength has always been its deep integration of hardware and software, right? So as of now, it,
Mhm,
it offers a complete stack for customers with processes which are optimized for workloads across workloads, be it enterprise IT, cloud computing, or even AI, right? So
mm,
they
mm,
catch up in the AI race. Additionally, Intel is the only major player investing heavily in IDM, which is integrated device manufacturing model, which you talked about in the
mm,
question, right? Where they both design and manufacture chips. This basically gives them control over their supply chain and quality as well.
mm, mm,
This is
mm,
something AMD and Nvidia do not have as of now, as they rely on TSMC for manufacturing.
mm, mm, mm.
They're also doing some interesting work in what's called heterogeneous computing. This is
Okay.
this essentially means designing chips that can handle different types of tasks more efficiently uh,
Mhm,
by leveraging technologies like Eagle Stream platforms or Foveros 3D packaging. So these are some of the innovations that they are doing, and they're good at also. However, having said so, Intel's x86 architecture, which is foundational to its previous success, right, is kind of become a double-edged sword. So it's great for traditional legacy application, I would say, but for
mm,
newer
mm, mm.
architectures, ARM-based processors or AMD's chips are better suited, especially if you talk about mobile or cloud-based applications, or even AI for that matter.
Well,
So
I think that's a very interesting point that you make. So, are you saying, I mean, if I were to put a question on behalf of our CIO friends, so
yeah.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Since Intel solution clearly have that robust reliability factor coming in, right? And more so from traditional requirements of enterprise IT. But the
Correct.
moment we talk about, the demands of modern workforce like AI and cloud computing,
Mhm.
how do you see them being stacked against competition?
Yeah. So, in my honest opinion, if you see, uh, AI and GPU are as of now, showing the cracks for Intel. While Intel has been reliable offerings, has offered some reliable products or robust products, but it has clearly struggled in the areas like AI and GPUs, right? As we discussed earlier as well. Nvidia is miles ahead in these areas. For instance, Nvidia's CUDA ecosystem is considered the gold standard for AI development ac- across developer community as well as the enterprises. Though Intel has started to catch up with its couple of new offerings
And
such
in
as
fact, Nvidia, if I'm not wrong, has created an entire ecosystem around CUDA.
correct.
It's a
So
go-to platform, go-to ecosystem.
go to ecosystem, and there are uh, significant number of partners, right, which
Right, exactly.
ability, right, and that's where I think Intel is lagging behind, and Intel has a lot of catching up to do. But having said so, the efforts that they are making with gaudy AI accelerators and one API platform that they have for cross-platform development, so that is commendable. But in comparison to Nvidia, there's a long way to go ahead. Uh, and also in the cloud side of it, Intel is strong with traditional CPUs, but
Mm.
AMD's processors, for example, are stealing the market share from Intel because of better performance per watt ratio, right? All in all, I would say CIOs today are looking for infra solutions that balance power, cost, and flexibility for modern AI workloads. And in my opinion, Intel needs to move faster to catch up or close these gaps.
Okay, very, very interesting uptakes from your end. Tell me, I mean, I think you've through the conversation you've while given a couple of areas, but if I were to ask you to paraphrase this, right?
Hmm.
As we've seen, every company has room to improve, right?
Correct.
And Intel clearly has a lot of areas that they could to improve. So, if hypothetically, if you were advising Intel's leadership couple,
Yeah.
what would you suggest that they focus on to stay competitive for the next coming decade, and areas that will help them actually reduce the gap in some of the areas that you just espoused, maybe AI, cloud? Your take on this, please.
So, look, as far as my knowledge goes, right, I would suggest three main focus areas for Intel.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the first one is basically stating the obvious, as you also talked about. Intel needs to ramp up its AI and GPU technologies, right?
Mm.
This means not just developing better hardware, but also building an ecosystem like Nvidia's CUDA, right?
Yeah.
Their gaudy processors are a good start, but I would say they need a more cohesive software hardware story to attract developers or even the enterprise community for that matter. So that's one. The second one is emphasis on competing in the foundry business, because I think if they execute it well, they have an edge over there. Intel's IDM 2.0 strategy, I would say, is ambitious, but if they can execute well, they could become a serious competitor to TSMC, right? And this would also diversify their revenue streams, which is as of now you know,
Yeah.
pretty singular.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Or also, the third one would be, they need to invest in energy efficiency and some of the alternatives to ARM processors, which ARM processors are significantly denting, Intel's market share, especially in mobile and cloud computing space. So Intel needs to address the growing demand of energy efficient chips, especially for edge computing and the mobile device. And also their e-core architecture is something which is a step in the right direction, but they need to scale it up rapidly. So these three would be my tactical suggestions in near term for Intel.
So those are very compelling points, Kapil, and clearly you've done your homework around this. So
Yeah.
I think for enterprise, it's not just about the chips that Intel offers today, but it's also about how they're preparing for tomorrow's computing demands. But I think like I said, we have a responsibility towards, like I said, to our audience, and a big chunk of them are our friends from the end user fraternity, which who manage technology for their organizations. So let's bring this conversation to actionable insights now. You know, for CIOs and enterprise leaders,
Mhm.
net question is Intel still a strong partner to consider?
I would say yes, but definitely there are a few caveats up. Look, so as I earlier talked about, right, Intel is still a strong partner, for traditional workloads in which require reliability and compatibility with x86 architectures. However, CIO should be very cautious and they need to assess their workload requirements first. So for edge computing, AI, or cloud native applications, they might want to consider complementary solutions from Nvidia, AMD, or even ARM. These are the few big names, right, which are offering good
Okay.
services products. So this would
And
be.
what about for CIOs and tech leaders, what are some of the lessons that they can take from Intel's journey? Well, at the end of the day, we're all in the world of tech ecosystem. And we grow and learn from each other, share the mistakes and success stories.
Absolutely. So two major lessons that clearly stand out, right? First would be always adapt to change. So Intel has been facing a lot of challenges, and those challenges, basically it shows that even the biggest companies can fall behind if they don't evolve. So that is a very apt lesson, I would say. And the other is, to succeed in this kind of environment, there is a need of building an ecosystem. So companies need to, focus on or emphasize on investing in creating an ecosystem altogether. So Nvidia's success, isn't just about the hardware. It's about the ecosystem that they have created. That kind of loyalty and growth basically comes from thinking beyond just products. So these two would be the key lessons you know, I would be inferring from this entire Intel story.
I think you make very pertinent point, and I really love the point when you paraphrase, that every company now needs to go beyond, you know, products, and when you broad scoping your vision for the next decade to decade and a half, it has to see things more holistically,
Correct.
and I think Kavit, great. Thank you so much for all the insights. I think if I were to summarize some of the things that you've captured in this podcast, I think Intel is a giant. I mean, and tremendous influence as far as tech business goes, computing goes.
Correct.
And but yes, it would be wrong if we don't recognize some of the challenges that it is currently facing. But I'm sure, given its track record of dominance and innovation, it will try its best to come back and start and continue staying relevant to its stakeholders, right? Internal as well as external. For CIOs, I think Intel's offerings remain very reliable. It's a solid bedrock of innovation, but its future depends on how it addresses its competition, innovates on, say, new workloads, like you said, you know, AI, cloud, adopts and how it adapts to more emerging technologies as they come up.
Mm.
So I think, Kapil, I think given our time to this podcast, like I said, a lot of ground which has been covered.
Oh,
Thank you so much. I think I really look forward to many more discussions of this nature. And probably in the next episode we take up another tech giant. But for today, it's a wrap. Thank you so much, Kapil.
thanks a lot, Ablak. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be on this platform and sharing insights on Intel. Look forward to, more conversations like this, as you said. Thanks a lot.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kapil. Over to and to all our friends, it's been great to have all of you. Uh, thank you for listening in, and we hope to see you again soon in the near future. Bye for now.